We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Izuku, he don't live in reality. Shake back, all become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing us. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy Leon Mookie here, and I'm back with that of a somewhat forgotten series again. This being, what if Izuku could summon Vision Heroes? This is part 7, and yep, it's been a long ass time since this series has basically made that of an appearance on the channel. Especially since it's been another year since I last uploaded a part for this series, to be honest. My bad. However, I'm not gonna lie. After finding out the fact that the global servers and even the Japanese servers for that of, well, Final Fantasy, Brave Exalt, War of Visions basically shut down about that on the same year that I basically dropped the game, being last year, I've came to the realization, do any of you guys want me to continue doing this what if? If you guys will, just letting you guys know this now. If I can reach that of a certain number of viewers alongside likes, then I'll keep on going. If this video can get up to that of 600 viewers alongside that of 50 likes as well, I'll keep this series going. If it can reach either one of those two at the exact same time, I'll keep it going. If not, if I only get the viewer count but not the like count, and if I only get the like count and not the viewer count, then I'm dropping it. It has to be completely exactly at the both. So yeah, just letting you guys know this now. By the time I post my new what if for next week, if it doesn't reach either one, if I don't reach that of 600 viewers or that of 50 likes, this series is done. So yeah, anyway, with all that said, let's go to the necessary recap. In the last part, Izuku is preparing for that of the UA entrance exam, as part of him is quite worried. However, the reasons on why he's worried isn't that he's going to pass, it's because that everything that has gone well for him, gaining that of his heroes, the Visions, and even the Ring of Leonis, with so many people caring for him, supporting him, and even falling for him, he can't help but think that it's all nothing but a dream. However, his visions, his heroes, his friends keep reminding him that he's earned this. He deserves this more than anybody. And with that of their help, he will become the hero that they all know he's destined to become, no matter what anyone says. And such, he takes that of the entrance exam. He basically shows what he's capable of by using that of Murmur, Grace, and Whisper, alongside Shadowlinks and Alin as well, to basically gather up points, before then saving that of a brunette-haired girl from being crushed by a zero-pointer, and in the process, finally unlocking his limit break, the Arrow Saber, destroying the zero-pointer, while Mont basically carries him back and congratulating him for finally unlocking his limit break. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? It's been several days since that of the entrance exam, and Izuku hasn't remained idle, continuing that of his training by that of his mentors, of course, improving that of his magic and swordsmanship, and currently now training with that of Garvey, actually, focusing on close quarters combat this time, as now Izuku using that of his evoker job class, channeling that of magic and mana through that of his fist, and through that of his extensions of his kicks as well, as they trade blow for blow, strike for strike, with Izuku looking like he's about to get the upper hand on a few times against that of his, evoker-like master. But instead, he basically counters every time before then finish Izuku off with one solitary final hit towards his chest, sending that of the green net team flying backwards into the sand, with then Izuku wincing from the pain before then getting back on his feet, with then saying, able to recover quite quickly. You have improved quite a bit. With Izuku saying, I've learned quite a bit from all of you, and develops quite a bit of styles as well. But even so, I still feel like I'm lacking. But then saying, don't push yourself. You've already developed your first limit break with that of your Lord job class. Don't try to push it with others just yet. Go at your own pace. Got it? You green-haired nerd. With then saying, right, thank you, Garvel, saying, well, at least you're learning how to be a lot more casual now. I can appreciate that at least. Anyway, get back home. It's starting to get pretty late anyway. Saying, right. Thank you, master. With that, Garvel basically turns into that of crystal before shattering. As Izuku gets that of his bag and many other things, that's when two others begin to basically materialize right beside Izuku, as it being Eldoa and Lilith, with then Lilith saying, Lord Izuku, is it okay for us to basically tag along with you? With Izuku saying, do what you guys like, I won't push you. But I figured at least a few of you others would at least try and tag along. With then Lilia and Eldoa look at each other before Eldoa saying, this is just not to draw too much attention towards you, Lord Izuku, if that's okay. With Izuku hearing that saying, it's fine. Appreciate it, actually. With that, the two basically sigh in relief, as this is basically trying to get to spend more time with that of their, ring bearer a little bit more than, as a few of the female visions have basically made a alliance, or rather, a system. The ones who've basically developed feelings for Izuku would spare and spend some time with that of him while they can. Currently now, it's that of Lilith and Eldoa's turn to spend time with Izuku. As the three heading back to Izuku's apartment, they begin to think on what they need to do or plan, given that it's been several days and he still hasn't gained that of his, entrance letter just yet. Wondering if he even passed or not, especially given the 0-pointer situation. With Eldoa trying to convince Izuku that he passed, definitely. Even trying to butter him up quite a bit, which makes Izuku blush a little bit here and there from that of the overstimulating of praise. With Lilith, just basically telling Izuku to keep his head up high. Knowing what he did during with the whole 0-pointer and saving that girl, he definitely would get in that of UA. As a school like that wouldn't just focus on that of defeating villains, since it's supposed to be in their words, a hero school. Heroes do more than just defeat their enemies. They do more than that as well. With then Izuku hearing these words from Lilith saying that she's right. That there has to be more to that of the exam than what was just told on the surface level. And hopefully she's right. And lucky for Izuku and his visions, He be exactly right. As soon as he arrives back home, that's when Inko realized that Izuku came back, as she frantically, a little bit shocked, and also basically quite frantic, as right in her hands is a letter from UA High, catching Izuku off guard with a look of pure and utter shock, alongside that of the two ladies who were once enemies against each other as well. As currently in Izuku's room, wondering what he got, as he opens up the letter. However, it shows that of a holographic disc instead of that of a written letter, as he was kind of expecting. Before then, materializing in that of a holographic display is that of a anthropomorphic figure in that of a suit with white fur and a scar down that of the left side of his eye, as this being UA's principal, Nezu, saying, "Greetings, Mr. Midoriya. Am I a bear? Am I a mouse? Am I a dog? I am neither. I am UA High's principal, Nezu, at your service." Within, Lilith actually quite shocked by this, saying, what is that? Within, Eldoa, on the other hand, as her eyes basically sparkle, saying, "Whatever it is adorable." As the tan-skinned, muscular, blue-haired woman couldn't help but basically want to know on who this thing is and how can she cuddle it in the future, with Lilith still kind of shocked at the fact that Eldoa has a weakness for cute things. However, materializing from the Ring of Leonis is also Mont and Stern, alongside that of their mother and Izuku's magic teacher, Helena. As Principal Nezu goes into details about that of Izuku's exam, at first they were confused on how he was racking up points at all, given that he barely shown what he was capable of, until they went over that of his, notes multiple times, and in his quirk registration being that of a quirk called Vision. Realizing this, he can summon sentient quirks, adding that with the sentient quirks that they saw alongside the applicants that weren't registered for the entrance exam, and they basically totaled him up to that of 66 villain points, actually. Eldoa hearing this, saying, "That low? I was expecting more than that. Did those damn church dogs alongside those worthless ninja not even do their job properly?" With then Izuku saying, "Hey, be nice, Eldoa. They did exactly what I wanted them to do. I wanted others to gain as many points as they can too, outside of just me." With then hearing that, Eldoa saying, "Oh, right. Of course, my lord." Feeling embarrassed, being called out by that of her crush and ring bearer, with Nezu continued saying, "This alone will qualify you to be part of the hero course. And for that, I appreciate everything you've done and the hard work you've achieved." However, Nezu didn't stop there, saying, "However, there are more to that of being a hero than just taking down villains. Being a hero is more than fighting villains, taking them down, or looking good for the public. It's always about that of rescuing others, either civilians or even that of your own fellow heroes in battle." Showing Izuku fighting against that of the zero-pointer, saving Ochako, and soon being brought back by that of Mont. It is true that you did collapse after defeating the zero-pointer, even though you knew you wouldn't gain any points from it. You did it to save that of a fellow applicant. That is the true form of heroism. And it would be a criminal for that of UA to deny somebody of your skill and talent for that alone, with or without villain points. And so, I wish to welcome you, Izuku Midoriya, to UA Academia, your hero academia, young man. I hope to see what you do in the future, young man. With that, the hologram ends with Izuku. Tears begin coming down his eyes, saying, "We did it! We did it! All that hard work, all that training, everything I've been through, it all finally paid off." As with that, Izuku couldn't help but break down. Not completely full-on bawling, but break down and out of full-on emotion that his dream of making into his dream school finally came true. With that of Eldoa and Lilia basically comforting that of the green-haired boy as well. And Mott and Stern doing the same thing. And Helena deciding not to say anything, just wanting to enjoy the fact that Izuku's hard work fully made it. She may be considered cold-hearted to some, but she can appreciate the hard work and determination that her student has achieved. And personally, she doesn't think that Izuku would make it as far as he did if he didn't have the emotional and physical support of us by his side. With that, a month has now gone by, with now Izuku preparing to begin his first year at UA High School. With him already having that of his new high school uniform, basically the gray blazer of the signature UA High School, and already heading to that of the train station, ready to wait for his train to make it to UA. All he needs to know is what has in store for him in the future, though, as of course, during those few weeks while basically waiting to get into that of UA and preparing for everything, he spent a little time with that of many of his visions, actually. At least many of the female ones who have an attraction towards him, one way or another, as they all continue that of the agreement of getting close with Izuku, but not stepping on each other's toes after all, or causing fighting here or there. Luckily, they haven't got anything violent just yet, but give it time. With people from different worlds, countries, and former enemies and nemesises, yeah, it will possibly happen sooner or later. But for the meantime, they're enjoying what they can get with that of Izuku. But that aside, with Izuku finally arriving back at that of the 8-shaped school of his dreams, and now heading inside to look for Class 1A, the class that he'll be part of for his entire first year. Moving through the halls pretty quickly, but not running, as he begins looking around, wondering where it is, with then Kitone basically spoke up saying, "Lord Izuku, if you would like, we could basically look around for you, and we can bring you that location," saying, "I appreciate that, Kitone, but I think it's best if I do this myself. Also, let's not forget, unlike that of Aldera, there's most likely UA might have a stricter policy on quirk usage in classes, even though you guys aren't quirks." With Aldera making a comment saying, "I agree with that of our Lord Izuku. Let's not take any chances while we can. You had a good idea, Kitone, but we're in a new location in a new area. Best not to tip things off just yet." Within, Kitone saying, "Understood." And she's sweet and simple to the point as always. With that, he's wandering around a little bit longer. He soon arrives in front of that of Class 1A, saying, "Here we are, Class 1A, the class where I'll basically be part of for at least the next year or so." Within thinking about that of Bakugo and the guy from that of the entrance exam, within him huffing, saying, "What are my chances of having Kachan in the same homeroom as me, alongside that guy from the entrance exam?" With Stern speaking up, saying, "Given that you and Bakugo ended up and basically did make it into that of UA, the chances of him being in the same class as you are pretty high, but also pretty slim as well. He could be in that of Class 1B. As for the one then down at the entrance exam, there's a chance that he didn't even make it into that of the school. But given his sternness and strictness, there might be a chance that he did. Somebody like him, they have the skills, but the mindset could always change in combat." Hearing this from one of his closest visions, saying, "If you say so, Stern. Hopefully you're right." With that, he soon slides the door open, and as soon as he notices, that's when his luck basically ran out just as always, as he's in the same class as Bakugo and Ida, with, of course, them basically arguing about the fact that, well, Bakugo has his feet on the desk like always, because, of course, he does this all the time, trying to assert dominance or nonchalantness, proving that everything is above him. He always did that back at Aldera. It seems some things always stay the same, don't they, Lord Izuku? as hearing the words from that of Kilfi, with then saying, yeah, seems so. With as Izuku basically toned out that of the argument between that of Ida and Bakugo, as he planned on basically just heading to his seat. However, that's when that of Ida steps in front of him, with Izuku just waiting for the opportunity, and not just him, several of his visions were going to step in as well, if he had some certain words, or if he planned on to outright attack him, or basically accuse him, with then saying, you were the one in the entrance exam. With those words, everyone was now on edge, with only that of a few crystals were about to form behind that of Izuku, and also around that of Ida. Allow me to apologize. With then, hearing that, Izuku shocked, saying, pardon? Saying, you knew about that of the rescue points from the very beginning, did you not? You had better foresight than I, and for that, I wish to apologize for being so rude during the entrance exam. With that, Izuku, realizing that he was really apologizing for his actions during the entrance exam, with even the other visions deciding not to materialize on their own will, saying, it's okay, at least you're apologizing. Most people nowadays are too prideful to apologize after all. Yes, I mean, I do have my own pride, but I am willing to admit when I am wrong. With that, Izuku saying, well, at least put some, worries to thinking that he was going to be pretty stuck up all this time. Within a few of his visions from that of Eldoa, Kitone, Stern, and Victoria deciding to, keep their opinions at least low about the young man, if he's eager to basically speak his words first instead of basically listening to others properly. A person that lets his mouth run too much before even stopping himself. And it's those people that end up that can ruin relationships, bonds, and even destroy even their own reputation in the process, even if they have good intentions in the process. In a way, it's the opposite on Izuku, where Izuku's always acts when somebody's in danger, even before he can think. He basically speaks before he thinks. With that, he soon introduces himself as Tenya Ida. However, Izuku already stopped him, as he already heard when he spoke to that of Bakugo. Speaking of Bakugo, he can't help but glare at Izuku, remembering the fact that the two made into that of UA together. Part of him can't help but basically get, angry that he's here, basically destroying his perfect origin story of a perfect hero that came from that of nothing, basically rise up to basically become the greatest after all. Which is literally bullshit, given that his father is a clothing designer, and his mom a former model. If anything, Bakugo's more well off than anybody back at Aldera, unlike Izuku. Before then, somebody else coming behind out of the door, as it being that a familiar brunette saying, "Hey, I know you. You're that sword kid." With Izuku looking back saying, hey, you're the girl that was trapped by rubble, right? Saying, yeah, that's me. I'm just so glad that you were able to make it into as well. I was actually kind of worried that you didn't have enough points to make it. I'm so excited to what we're going to do since we made it. With then Izuku saying, wow, she's really bubbly. Within a few visions, female visions couldn't help but feel a little bit, hostile, actually, towards that of Ochako. Before then, a voice basically cuts her off saying, if you're only here to try and make friends or socialize, you're in the wrong class. Before then, everybody hears this, as Izuku could feel a presence that was in the hallway this whole time. At first, he believed that was just her, but now noticing that there was a second. Within, looking to the side, behind that of the girl, as then he sees that of a yellow sleeping bag, but the person inside of it is a whole other story. As seeing his face, as it's quite rough, the 5 o'clock shadow doesn't help, to be honest, Not to mention the fact that he pulls out that of a drink pouch as well from the sleeping bag before unzipping it and then coming out with that of a whole black uniform, as with that of combat boots and a scarf wrapped around that of his neck and shoulders, with that of messy long hair and quite the baggy eyes, to be honest, showing that the guy has barely gotten any sleep at all. As he walks past out of the three before heading to the podium saying, "Hello, my name is Shota Aizawa. I'll be your homeroom teacher throughout your entire first year. So it's nice to meet you all. However, this isn't going to be an introductory between each other." Within pulling something from his sleeping bag saying, "You see this? This is the standard UA gym uniform. I want you all to head to that of the locker rooms, put these on, and meet me out into the training field. And don't be late. Anyone is late, you're going to regret it. Got it?" As he gives off that of a pretty serious and, well, pretty messed up glare. Before then, he soon walks out saying, I'm not kidding." Before then, everybody begins to just get out of their desk and soon head out, while running past that of Aizawa. Within saying, let's see how long it takes them to make it, or hopefully none of them get lost. However, a few of the visions heard this and realized this guy's a hard-ass teacher. However, a few of Izuku's, vision mentors, such as that of Ohm and also that of, and Helena, couldn't help but approve of the man's teaching style. With that, Izuku heads to the changing rooms, get on the gym uniform, and arrive alongside everybody else into that of the training field. With everybody having on that of their gym uniforms, with Aizawa saying, "Good, you all made it in time, and with time to spare. The sooner you all understand this, the better your time here at UA will be." With then Ochako raising her hand saying, Mr. Aizawa, can I ask, why are we even here? Aren't we going to miss that at the orientation ceremony?" With then Aizawa basically huffing saying, "You don't have time to be wasting on pointless ceremonies like that. You're training to be heroes. Every moment and every piece of time you have here is valuable. Using your time for something like that is wasted. So right now we'll be using that proper time for that of this. I'll be each and every one of you have taken that at the standard apprehension test during your junior high years. But you've never used your quirk before because the current education system and the government still wants to make it seem like everybody is equal. The only time that you're able to use your quirks are during that of the standard quirk development exams. And those exams are basically useless for your growth. So, for now on, for this test, you'll be using your quirks during that of the quirk apprehension test all together." Within, looking back at that of Izuku, saying, "Midoriya, you got the highest score during that of the entrance exam, even though you got it through that of both villain points and hero points as well. You still got the highest." Within saying, yes, sir," saying, "What was your highest throw in that of during your ball throw in junior high?" Within, Izuku blinking, saying, "At least 62.9 meters, sir." With hearing that saying, that's pretty decent. But this time, I want you to use your quirk. Saying, understood." Within hearing that, Bakugo still couldn't help but get annoyed that that Izuku got the highest score during the entrance exam, and yet he didn't, which seriously pisses him off deeply. With that, Izuku grabs the ball before thinking, should he just throw it himself, or should he rely on that of his visions? Within Kepri making a proposal saying, "My lord, I think I know a better way for you to to keep your identity secret while also using us at the same time." When Izuku saying, "What do you mean?" Within, Kepri began to explain. As soon, Izuku saying, "Mr. Aizawa," saying, "Yes, you are aware of what my quirk is capable of, are you not?" Saying, "Yes. However, I wish to see it firsthand." Saying, "Then how about this? I'll do things myself, but I'll also use my quirk at the same time. So you can at least gauge on what I'm capable of with or without it. Because if I'm going to be honest, sir, you seem like the kind of type that would basically go back on his word just to basically make a ruse. No disrespect. Within hearing that, Aizawa's eyes winding for a split second, a blink if you miss it kind of moment, before then, him couldn't help but huff, saying, "Do what you like, just make sure that you still throw the ball in the circle." Within saying, "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." With that, Izuku couldn't help but smile as the Ring of Leonis begins to react. And then he begins to summon the very vision hero that he believes will be the best for this test, materializing in that of a large crystal. Before then, coming from that crystal is that of a beautiful young lady with that of a greenish yellow dress with a short skirt and quite a bit of pronounced assets in the front, while also having that of a fur cloak on her waist. But also on her waist is that of a arrow quivers, and that of her left hand is a massive custom-made hunting bow. Outside of her body and her appearance, she also has that of a quite beautiful, elegant, and soft face, with that of chestnut brown hair and chestnut brown eyes as well, as this being Charisse, one of Glycilia's retainers, with several people in the class actually quite shocked by this. Especially, several of the guys couldn't help but stare at that of Charisse after all, especially at that of her gentle beauty that almost has that of a big sister air to her after all. Within, Charisse saying, "My lord, I understand what I need to do," saying, "Let me go first, then you, okay?" Saying, "Do what you like, my lord. I'm here to serve when needed." As he can't help but smile. Before then, unfortunately, his grimoire is in that of the locker rooms, so he can't really use it to basically materialize a weapon. But he doesn't need to, when in fact he can rely on that of the magic he's been focusing on, especially on being an evoker, as he channels a little bit of his black magic through that of the palms of his hands. Within, he could feel the flame. He can feel that of the fire spell channeled through his hands. As soon, he couldn't help but have that of the ball currently engulfing that of the ball. Hopefully that it doesn't completely turn to ashes before he throws it. Before then, using all of his strength and even a bit of arrow spells through that of his arm to excel that of the ball, going further and further. Within all his might, he soon chucks the ball as far as he can, as all you can see is that of a gust of wind and flames coming from the ball. With that, everybody is completely shocked and surprised, with even Aizawa actually shocked by this, as he only thought that Midoriya's quirk was just summoning things, but then he remembers the entrance exam on how he destroyed the zero-pointer, thinking to himself, does he have more than just one quirk than just summoning those things that he calls visions? With then deciding to look into it a little later, as soon he brings out that of the, meter watch, as says that of 650.0 meters, which catch everybody completely off guard. Within, he's saying, Mr. Aizawa, do you have a spare one so I can give one to Charisse? Within, here getting out of his thoughts, saying, "Sure," as he pulls one out of that of his back pocket, as he tosses it towards Charisse, saying, "Remember." Within, Charisse saying, "I understand. I must stay in out of the circle after all. No need to worry." Within, after saying that, she soon pulls out that of one of her arrows, as then she stabs that of the arrow into the ball. Before then, she soon notched that of the arrow onto that of her bow, before pull back the drawstring. Before then, she soon begins to channel that of her energy, as people could feel that of a tenseness in the air. However, Izuku's not even fazed by this, as he's felt this tenseness before. So of course, she's not using her limit break. As she used her limit break, everything would probably in the area would probably be that of a small ground zero location. But right now, she's just using that of light magic aura around that of the arrow, before then unleashing it, as it goes so fast that it basically moves faster than light itself. Before then, a bright sparkle light engulfs the entire sky around that of UA high, which catches a lot of people's attention actually. With then Aizawa looking over the meters, realizing to think this was going to be an easy day, I thought, before showing it off as being that of 1,000 meters actually, which catch everybody completely and utterly off guard entirely. With even Bakugo, as he remembers all the times he basically tried to threaten Izuku or attack him or other stuff like that, he realized that a lot of Izuku's vision heroes were holding back. And to think that they were holding back this much, it's causing him to basically feel frustrated, angry, and pissed. Still thinking that Izuku is still looking down on him for holding back against him of all people. Within, Aizawa getting everybody's attention once again, saying, "This is the benchmark on what I want you to see. Every one of you give it your all." But then saying, "Midoriya, since you decided to basically do things twice with yourself and also with your quirks, I expect you to give it your all too. Especially harder now." With Izuku saying, "Understood, sir." However, while everybody is basically preparing and also getting excited, especially the fact that they get to use their quirks all they want, thinking that this is what they expect when they came to UA. But then, that's when their homeroom teacher couldn't help but get pissed and angry at this, saying, "Oh, so you all think this is going to be all fun and games? That you're all basically spending 3 years at this school trying to become the best heroes you can, and you think that you're just going to have some time to relax and have fun while using your quirk? You got another thing coming. So, new rule stipulations. Whoever comes in last place will be expelled," leaving everybody completely and utterly shocked and surprised. With then, soon, everybody couldn't help but basically, get frantic and shocked and wondering, especially Ochako basically screams out, "But that's not fair. We all worked so hard to get into school." With everyone else wanting to speak out too, but they, too afraid and too stunned to do so. Within, Aizawa basically saying, "Oh, so are you saying that power-hungry villains, natural disasters, all of those are fair?" Within, basically causing her to be quiet. "The world is always going to be unfair, no matter what. It's your job as heroes to combat that unfairness, to overcome it all, to do what UA is known for, to go plus ultra. Do you have what it takes to be a hero after all?" Within hearing this, many people getting more pumped, more excited, and basically reached a new mindset, all just so they don't get expelled, and to show that they earned to be here. Even Izuku as well, who's still in the circle, with Charisse placing her hand on Izuku's right shoulder, catching him off guard as he looks at that of the beautiful brunette, saying, "We got this, Izuku. All of us. Together." Within saying, "Yeah, thanks, Charisse," as she smiles before turning into crystals and shattering, catching once again everybody completely off guard as Izuku gets back in line with everyone else. And with that, the quirk apprehension test has just begun, with everything else basically playing out pretty similar. The only difference is with Izuku having to go twice, mainly once with himself and one of his visions doing afterwards, as well, which for the 50-meter dash, he decided to go with that of Shisa, his big sister figure, who basically clears it without even breaking a sweat, getting at least that of 2.0 seconds after all. Next up being that of the grip strength test, he decided to go with at least one of his, Garvel actually. Given that again, even though he looks like a stick twig, guy is actually stronger than people give him credit for, even though he's using magic to enhance himself. Nothing wrong with that, to be honest. Gets one of the highest scores that surpassed that of Shoji, along with Izuku basically getting, at least behind Shoji, but surpassed at least everyone else like that of Sato, of course. Then there's that of the standard long jump. Izuku clears it pretty good, given of course using that of his life energy to go over it. As for the vision he uses, he decides to go with that of Victoria. Of course, this is perfect for a dragoon such as her. For sidesteps, Izuku does something decent. He doesn't get enough to surpass that of Mineta, but the one who was close to basically, rivaling Mineta is that of Shisha once again, of course, given how quick-footed she is, to be fair. Next up is the ball throw once more, and since Izuku already went, everyone else had to go. However, given that Izuku's highest score is basically mixing both his score alongside that of his vision heroes, everybody's going to try and beat that. Surprisingly, the one who does is Ochako after all. Hell, Bakugo tried too, but all he could do is basically get his usual, amounts being at a 700.2 meters. Then there's the pull-ups, which he does pretty well, as it didn't really matter on which set of visions he actually chose for that one, but he basically went with that of Ketone for it though. Then for push-ups, Aizawa told him that he didn't need to bother choosing that of a vision for that one, given that he wanted to focus more on Izuku's physical abilities for this. As for the long distance run, once again, this one he did need to use a vision hero. Running alongside of him is that of Ural, who basically, as the two of them continue their jog, because, of course, this is something that they're used to, and especially Izuku, given that he always has to do endurance running when he first started out training with that of his vision heroes. So this distance run isn't even much of a problem. And given that everybody's relying so much more on their quirks, sure, which would make things easier, but if he's learned one thing, relying too much on that of your powers will basically put too much of a strain on you, both physically and mentally. Which with that, they finally put an end to that of the quirk apprehension test. However, little did any of them know, or rather, little did anyone but that of Aizawa and Izuku's vision heroes notice that of All Might keeping an eye on everyone from Class 1A. However, he's mainly keeping an eye on Izuku, as he can't help but feel nervous seeing that of the green-haired boy, and especially the fact that he's using other powers outside of his visions, which makes him feel quite nervous, terrified, and angry at the same time, thinking that Izuku has multiple quirks. With Aizawa saying, not really bothering, basically showing what you all did and how far you've gone throughout that of the exam, through each test. So I'll just show you what you all made individually all together. Within showing each and everyone's placement, with first place being, of course, Izuku, second place being Momo, third place being Shoto, fourth place being Bakugo, fifth place being Ida, and so on and so forth, just like everything else in canon, with the person that being in last place is Mineta, as always. Which once again, with seeing that, everybody thinking, especially Mineta himself, thinking he's going to get expelled, before then saying, and luckily, none of you are getting expelled. With that, everybody was completely caught off guard and shocked, with even Mineta having that of a look of pure and utter joy on his face, saying, I only lied to see if you would all give it your all. It was a logical ruse to see if you would all basically hold nothing back and to see if you all had potential at all. And I have deemed it that you all have potential. Within hearing that, many people couldn't help but feel at least somewhat less that of down or basically feeling like they dodged a bullet. With even that of the girl known as Momo, the one with that of the spiky ponytail, and has that of an elegant appearance to her, basically admits that she knew that he was lying this entire time and should have said something ahead of time so people wouldn't have worried so much. With Izuku basically asking his visions if Aizawa was lying, as the one who explained was that of Shadow Links, saying that he was 100% serious about expelling the person in last place. It was most likely he was aiming towards you, Master, or possibly somebody that he deemed didn't have potential. It's most likely it's a good thing that you basically called him out and saying that you would do it yourself alongside us. If you only allowed us, then there's a chance. With Izuku having a look, glaring at that of his homeroom teacher, saying he would have expelled me on the spot. This teacher, he's kind of a pain in the ass, I won't lie. But luckily I'm used to that. Within, he could hear that of multiple voices saying, I beg your pardon, excuse you? You want to repeat yourself, Izuku. Oh, gotten quite arrogant, Izuku. You want to say that again, you little shit? With Izuku standing up straight and that of pure and utter fear, as knowing that each one of those tones, each of his mentors and masters are going to be absolutely pissed and probably going to take it out on him when the next time he trains with them again. With that, saying, once you all change back into that of your school uniforms, there are syllabus waiting on that of my desk. Grab one and you'll be looking over on everything for the curriculum and about the layout of the entirety of the school and all the faculty and rooms to go to. Make sure to memorize it. Got it. With that, Aizawa soon walks away from everybody else. Within, soon, everybody else begins to walk after as well. Before then, that's when All Might comes between that of the, insomniac teacher saying, "Ha, I am here to see how things went, and you're quite something, Aizawa." Within, Aizawa can help but basically close his eyes and have annoyance, saying, spying on that of the new batch of heroes already, All Might? I thought for sure that you would basically spend most of this time in that of an interview. Within, All Might saying, April Fool's is a month from now, that of Aizawa. To think that you would basically not expel your entire class this time and re-enroll them a day afterwards. You are really something else, you know that. Before then, he couldn't help but basically huffing out of annoyance before saying, if you got something to say, say it. If you already have plans on picking a favorite already, you better just get it over with. It's annoying anyway, and I need to already know on who I need to either expel or keep my eyes out for. Within, soon hearing that, it almost basically, hit a nerve in that of All Might saying, oh, poor contraire. I'm not here to check out a favorite. I just wanted to check out this year's batch after all and to see if you didn't expel them. Before mentally saying to himself, I also wanted to keep an eye on that of young Midoriya. Is saying he's the one person that we need to at least expel if he has a connection towards him or if he has the same tendencies as him. I will not allow another All For One to be born in this reality again. Not after everything I sacrificed and the other users sacrificed to stop him. Even my master. As he couldn't help but look back as everybody in Class 1A leaves, with Izuku already going. However, little did Izuku or All Might know, they're already being watched by several individuals, and a few of them are not too happy that a target has been put on their young ring bearer. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Let's read them. So, what did you guys think? Think I did a pretty decent enough job after all? And normally we go into a lot of details, but it's not necessary. And besides, if this doesn't get to that of the numbers that I wished for, being that of 600 viewers alongside that of 40 likes together, they can't be separate and one can't be without the other, then I'll continue the series. If not, then I'm dropping it 100%. It's never coming back ever again. So yeah, at any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, keep the videos on below the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my other channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All link in the description below. And like always, if you guys have that of a what if you want me to do on the channel, please do so by donating to that of my super thanks comment. And I'll do that of a one-shot what if of your choosing. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later, guys, and hope you all take care. Thank you so much for watching and staying to the end of the video.
But there's still so much on my love channel.
That's right, such as my other what if content and the most recent what ifs as well.
Not to mention his playlist, where you can watch all of his other what ifs.
Which, all said and done, this is Leon.
And Shiro.
And you're watching Leon Mookie.